In this video, we're going to take a look at the dissolve function. I'm going to present a somewhat humorous scenario. Let's say you request from a friend a state file. I want just the states of the United States, but them being a good friend of yours that you don't necessarily trust with data, they send you the congressional districts of this 116th Congress. Okay, that's the file we have in front of us, and you could still, the point of me making this somewhat whimsical example is we can still get a state file from our congressional district file. And the way to do this is, as a trick, would be the dissolve function. All right, I'm going to run through it a couple times in different ways to show you the strengths and tricks of the trade for dissolve. But as always, we want to go ahead and go to analysis and tools. Okay, and it is under data management and generalization and dissolve. I believe it's listed in the quick reference. It might be, it might not. Again, I'm discouraging people from using this quick reference tab. Otherwise, if you don't want to memorize where it is, you could always type dissolve. Right, and it brings it up. So in this, it's one file at a time. Okay, so we want to go ahead and load our congressional district. And output feature class always is going to our S drive. We want to make sure that we have our selections cleared. And so the question is, all right, we have all these congressional districts. One would reasonably assume that those congressional districts have a tag that says this congressional district belongs to this state. All right, and the case is correct here. We have this state FP column right here. All right, we don't even need to know what these codes mean. Or we would if we wanted to go about labeling them later, but this is actually from the Census Bureau. They label them as the FIPS code, the state's FIPS code. So what we could do is, so with dissolve, you can have the option to use a field. All right, and what we're saying here is dissolve on field. So essentially the process is every congressional district with state code 17 glue together. Everyone with 47 glue together, everyone with 48 glue together. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just do that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And we'll leave the rest of this in a second. We'll take a look at that. Go ahead and run. We're using the state FIPS code to knock out a dissolve from the census files. And we have our state file. Okay, so it took whatever the code for Virginia is and glued all the census tract files together for Virginia. All right. Couple of other things. If you even wanted a country file, all right. So let me change this to dissolve 2. We could go up from country, or all the way from the census file. If we dissolve by absolutely nothing, all right. Back to this, we're not using a dissolve field. We're going to glue everything together. All right, we're not even splitting them up. Let's just go ahead and try that. Let's just dissolve. Let's see, dissolve 3. Just make sure we're okay. All right. I just want a file of the United States. Because we didn't give it any rules, okay, we went ahead and just had it all dissolve into one giant file. So in that sense, we could say this is our state file. Okay, and we have 56 because it includes like Puerto Rico and Guam and things like that. All right, and so congressional districts we have 441, and states, including territories, etc., 56, and for country we have just 1. All right, a couple of other tricks that we could use the dissolve function. All right, so let's say we're still using our census tract. All right, while you're dissolving, let's say, let me go ahead and close this and just reopen it. Analysis and tools and dissolve. We'll load our census tract. All right, if we inspect our attribute table, let me go ahead and drag this up. You'll see over here an income column. Now, I want to stress I made these numbers up with a random Python script just to prove the point. These are not actual incomes for census tract, or I'm sorry, congressional districts. So while we are dissolving, okay, you can toss in and say, hey, while you are creating that Virginia and North Carolina file, could you do me a favor okay, and then sum up all the incomes. So what we'll say is the dissolve field for this would be state FIPS. All right, but we could also say income, okay, and sum, or mean, max, range, standard deviation, count, etc. In this sense, we want sum. So what it'll do is it'll take the congressional districts, dissolve them together, and while it's dissolving them, give us a total amount of income from those congressional districts for each state. Go ahead and run that. Okay, now we have the same state file, but in this sense, we actually have income sums. All right. How much money in toto was being made? All right, and let me go ahead and clear. I don't need to mess around. We could say also, hey, I don't care about the sum. That's all the money being made. We could do same exact type of process, 5, and divided by state FIPS income and mean. What's the average coming in? Same exact spatial structure, but now our table has mean income. So in this example, Alabama's got 58,728 average amount of money coming in per census. I'm sorry, congressional tract. Okay, that's generally it for dissolve. I wouldn't necessarily mess around too much with too much else in here. All right.